Hello, my name is Fraser Simons. This is my channel, Springboard Thought. Today I'm doing a tag that Shawn the Book Maniac tagged me on mid-December sometime. And it's the what lurks on my Kindle tag. So you just talk about what's on your Kindle. It's very easy. I've got a total of 58 read books, unread 156 books, and of those 19 are just samples where I haven't probably even looked into them yet, but they looked interesting. So a book cover that I have on right now, which means I started reading it at some point, is Shadows Fall, a cyberpunk book. I have The Passion According to Carmilla waiting on here. I've got Throne of the Crescent Moon. I've got The Storyteller by Kate Armstrong, which, if I remember correctly, is about a woman who takes up a friendship with a reporter or journalist, and the journalist begins to write her biography, but there's some weird, like, surrealistic overlap where you're not sure as a reader if the person writing the biography is inventing the life wholesale or actually being, like, true to it or not. It's supposed to be quite good. I got a friend of mine who's never steered me wrong yet, I believe, told me to get this, and I think it's been like a year or two. I also have Blood Music by Greg Bear. That's probably for a cyberpunk project. I have like a kind of in the background project where I'm trying to read all of the cyberpunk books that I can get a hold of, or at least try them. I'll DNF them if I don't like them, but I tried to get to as many as I can. There's a lot of self-published work in that field. Some of it's good, some of it's not. But I really like cyberpunk as a genre, and I feel it's often mischaracterized, and people tend to construe what that subgenre is with their personal tastes most often. So a lot of recommendations of cyberpunk are absolutely terrible. So I've been meaning to make a video on some recommendations of it at some point, but we will see. The Only Harmless Great Thing, which I think is a Tor.com free ebook. I have Jim Butcher's Dresden Files 1 to 5. I used to be pretty into those, but it's too sort of like commercial fiction, misogynistic, and more, I just have to be in the mood for like a stupid action movie basically, except reading when I get to those, and I just haven't been. I have Rupert Wong, Cannibal Chef from Cassandra Khaw. I've got some classics probably from public domain stuff. It looks like Princess of Mars, Edgar Rice Burroughs, Count of Monte Cristo, something called Ribofunk by Paul DeFeo, Liquid Cool, which seems like it's going to be some hardcore commercial fiction type stuff in the cyberpunk realm. I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. The Secret History of Moscow, which could be interesting. A solar punk anthology, which I believe I finished already, but says it's only 54% done. The Brothers Karamazov, Crime and Punishment. Suncatcher, with is an anthology of solar punk fiction. What Video Games Have to Teach Us About Learning. The Turn of the Screw, The Wind in the Willows. The Paper Magician, which I've heard varying things about. The Inheritance Trilogy by N.K. Jemisin. Red in Tooth and Claw by Ryan House. This is, my brother has a friend who is this author, I believe, and he accidentally bought it and sent it to my own Kindle instead of his own, I think. The Dream Quest of Velet Beau, which is a subversion of Lovecraftian horror, centering a female protagonist instead. I haven't read the original anyway, though. The Tiger's Daughter by Arsenault River, which I've heard is extremely Orientalist, which is why I haven't picked it up. I have a few Clark's World stuff, like magazines. Oh, one I really want to get to is The Lamb Will Slaughter the Lion. This one I have no memory of. A Small Charred Face. Who knows what's up with that? I have Revenant Gun, Raven Stratagem, Nine Fox Gambit, the trilogy from Yoon Ha Lee, which I've heard is really great, but I completely forgot was even on this thing. Ooh, I have Women and Men by Joseph McElroy, which I might start and just make small increments on because it's like 1,500 pages or something like that. It's supposed to be a really amazing book, but I could only get it on Kindle. The used one's like $1,500 or something like that. So I have A, B, and E from Mark Nash that I need to get to, as well as some samples of his other books so that I can jump to those after the words. Eye for an Eye for an Eye, Not in My Name, and Time After Time. I have Following You, which I have no memory of as well. Ava Lesko and Netiello. A whole bunch more Clark's World magazines. When the Tiger Came Down the Mountain, which I'm pretty sure I've consumed on audio, which is why I haven't read it on here yet. Oh, Quantum Thief I'd really like to get to. This I've heard is cyberpunk, but it's another one where things get labeled as cyberpunk all of the time when they're not actually cyberpunk, just because people think the aesthetic or the setting or some peripheral component makes them feel like something they've read within cyberpunk is similar to that. Cincinnati Stories, which is a cyberpunk book of short stories that I still meaning to get to, and I have backed on Kickstarter years ago. I have The Murmur of Bees, which is interesting. No wonder the middle of the book March was talking about this because she's in the middle of reading it, and it sounded really familiar to me, and I guess that's because I own it. And Spirits Abroad by Zen Cho, which is probably because I read Blackwater Sister and really liked it as well. And that's it. I think my Kindle's kind of boring. There's a few things that I'm glad that I was reminded of though, and I'll probably go get. Since I don't know who has a Kindle or not, I'm just gonna leave this open to tagging, and if you like all of my tags, if you see them and you go and do it yourself, feel free to comment on the video and let me know. And otherwise, I will see you next video. Bye.